Hello everyone, it's Chris. Thank you for watching today. I have these honeycomb treat boxes that I'd like to share with you how I made. I made two different sizes. This one is a little bit taller. It's about 3 inches on the sides. And I've just put some random tea packets in there. And then this shorter one I made for this tutorial. I did use some chipboard, and that helps make it a little bit more sturdy. So these are really simple to make using the Hexagon dies from La La Land Crafts. And these cute bees, these are from the Just Because stamp set. And then I will show you what else I used. So for both boxes I used the yellow lattice looking paper from the Color Me Happy, as well as this green and white paper for the tall box, and then I ran out, and so for the shorter one I used this green with gold polka dots around the sides. Then I used the scalloped hexagon dies, the double stitched hexagon dies, and then just for the little white frame on the top of the boxes I used the inverted scalloped hexagons with the double stitched hexagon die. And then for the sides of my box, I really like using the stitch dies. However, if you don't have these, you can just easily cut some squares. But this is the stamp set, Just Because. There are 5 bees and 5 sentiments, and it's such a cute set. And then for the top of my box, I used these daisy dies, and they didn't come with leaves, so I used the leaves from the birdhouse die. So everything below the daisies comes in the birdhouse die set. These top ones comes in a set of 3 with the daisies, and then the little spring blossoms is a separate die. And then for my larger box I used these ticket dies. It's a set of 2, and I really like the way that came out, using the dark pink around it to match my daisy. And then on this one I used the smallest die from the large frames die. It is this one. And then I sponged pink around it, but I kind of like the way the ticket die came out a little bit better, but you can use whatever you want. So let's get started. I used some 65-pound scrapbook paper in white. I already cut off 1/4 of an inch on one edge, so this is 11 3/4 by 2 3/8. And this is a little bit lighter weight than I would have liked to use. However, if you want to use a thicker weight cardstock, you can just glue 2 pieces together to make it 11 3/4 of an inch if you want. But I just use this lighter weight, and it does make it a little more sturdy once you get your designer pattern paper on there. And then I'm just scoring a 1/2 an inch along this long edge, and then I'm turning it with a long edge across the top and scoring at 1 7/8, 3 3/4, 5 5/8, 7 1/2, 9 3/8, and 11 1/4 of an inch. And that leaves us with this 1/2 inch tab there on the end. And then we're just going to score and burnish all of our folds. And then we also want to miter our, how do I say this? The little flap, the 1/2 inch flap at the bottom, on both sides of your score lines. So just angling the flap. I'm sorry, that is my doggo. Someone just came to the door. I'm going to have to pause this. Okay, so now we're making the white frame for the top of our boxes, and I'm just centering that largest inverted scalloped hexagon inside the largest double stitched hexagon. And then with our largest scalloped die, we're going to cut out 2 pieces of chipboard and 4 pieces of our yellow cardstock, one for the lid and one for the base, and we're just going to be sandwiching that chipboard in between 2 pieces of the yellow for each one. And then with our largest double stitched hexagon die, I'm going to cut out 2 pieces of chipboard and 3 of our designer paper or pattern paper. You can do 3 different ones if you want, 3 all the same, whatever you want to do. One will be for the very top of our box, which is the yellow lattice. One will be for the underside of our lid, and the other one will be on the base of our box but inside. So you'll see it when you open the box. And then for around the sides, I'm using the second largest or second smallest. It's the second smallest double stitched square die, and we need 6 of those. Okay, so now I'm just going to glue this white frame to the top of our lid. And I'm using art glitter glue for this, but you can use whatever glue you have or that you like to use. And then I'm going to center this on one of my yellow scalloped hexagon pieces. Okay, and then we're going to take one of our chipboard scalloped hexagons and we're going to glue this right to the back of that lid. You want to be sure to line up those scallops so that we make sure and hide our chipboard pretty well. Okay, and then you could go ahead and glue another scalloped yellow hexagon to the back of that lid if you want to right now, but I started on the base. So I'm just sandwiching one of the scalloped chipboard pieces to another yellow scalloped hexagon. And then gluing another yellow on top. And again, just making sure that those scallops are all lined up like that. Okay, and then we're going to take one of our chipboard pieces that is not scalloped, and we're going to glue this right to the center of our base. I could probably speed this up a little bit. Okay, and then we're not going to add the designer paper on top right now because we need to glue our sides around onto that base and then cover up the flaps of the sides. Does that make sense? So let's go back to our lid. I need to glue another yellow scalloped hexagon to the back of our lid. Oops, it got stuck. Okay, and now I'm just going to, this is going to be the underside of my lid. But before we glue that on, we need to take some ribbon and sandwich the ribbon in between these 2 pieces. So I'm just taking this white ribbon. It's not really organdy. It's a little bit see-through. It doesn't really matter what kind of ribbon you use. You don't want something really thick, like lace, like that. What is it called? The crocheted lace type stuff. You want something kind of flat. And I'm just going to glue these two pieces along this one edge. And we're just gluing about half of our ribbon. So we have some tails to attach to the base of our box. Okay. And then I'm just going to glue this piece right on top. You want to make sure and center that really well. And this is also going to help serve as a kind of a stabilizer for our lid. So the lid stays put when it's on top, when it's closed. Okay, so now for the sides, we're going to glue 5 of the 6 squares. We want to leave one not glued on yet because we want to put that over our ribbon. So um, okay, so now we're going to attach this side piece to our base, and we're going to start with the end that has the 1/2 inch flap. Yeah, I think that will work the best. Okay, and we're going to add a little bit of glue. We're going to do this just section by section, and in order to hide that chipboard, what we want to do is add a little glue to your flap. Okay, and then we're going to pull it down so that you can see a little bit of that yellow, and then flip up the flap onto our chipboard. Okay, and then you can take like a straight edge and push it down into that score line, and that's going to help hide the chipboard. See? So you don't see that chipboard all the way around. And then we're just going to glue the next section and do the same thing all the way around, making sure that you are lining it up on the yellow just a little bit a ways from the chipboard. Because if you were to stick it right up on the edge of the chipboard, then you would see a little bit of that chipboard all the way around. That's what we don't want. Okay, so I'm at the last flap, and I'm going to go ahead and glue the flap down before we glue our side. Sorry about that, I kind of got off camera a little bit. I didn't mean to. So I'm just going to adhere that bottom flap and press that down really well. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and add some glue to that side piece to adhere that. Okay, so now we can add our lid, and we're going to glue our ribbon to this white square of our side piece. Right there. So I think the best way to do this is to kind of line up that chipboard piece under our lid and make sure that it's fitting squarely on top of our base. Make sure that it's centered. Okay, and then we can glue those ribbon flaps down. And if your ribbon is too long, you can just trim it off now before you glue it down. This is pretty easy to do. Takes quite a few steps, but it goes pretty quick. And then, yeah, I'm just going to lay this down and go over it with my bone folder just to make sure that that is, the ribbon is adhered really well so it doesn't pull out. Now we just need to glue that last square over the ribbon right there. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that real quick. Okay, so now we just need to glue our last piece of pattern paper into the base of our box to cover up those side flaps down there. So I'm just going to add some more glue here and then carefully try to get that in there so it's centered. The tweezers help kind of grab it and move it around a little bit. And then when you got it where you want it, you just press it down. And I'm just going to use my bone folder and just go over it and make sure that that glue is spread out. And that's in there really well. And that is our box. We're done with the base. So now we just need to decorate the top. And honestly, you could just decorate it however you want. I'll just quickly walk through what I did. Again, I used the Just Because stamp set. And I'm just going to stamp this cute little bee with a rose and one of the sentiments here. And I think I will just go ahead and speed this part up and put some music on, and you could just kind of watch how I decorated the box, and it's pretty self-explanatory. And I will be back. Okay, that is all for this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, and before I go, this taller box, I forgot to mention the rounded stitched rectangles were used for the green and white paper around the sides. And since this is about 3 inches tall, if you wanted to, you could fit a different bee from the stamp set on each side around your box, and that would be super cute for decorating as well. Okay, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.